Think about it. Think about it. Think about it.
And welcome once again to High School Basketball Weekly. I'm Tim Morey alongside of Rick Boo. And Rick, what an action-packed week we've had, and what a great show we've got coming to you this week from Northern Berkshire Community Television Studios. Let's get right into it. The girls' basketball action this past week was outstanding, and we'll start off with the Lady Hornets of McCann, who continue to play solid basketball.
Yeah, the girls, they had a tough one, and it's called a crossover game according to AD Bob Getlin. That's against the Green Wave of Greenfield. So that's a tough task. And they went down there and got beat 75-44 with Izzy Lacasse, the freshman point guard, leading the way with 14. But I really think it's just going to make them stronger because they're going to qualify. They're going to be over 500. They're going to finish either first or second in the Franklin West, and I think they're going to be fine in D4. So playing a team like that kind of reminds me a little bit of what Coach Wojcik does at Hoosick Valley pre-conference in his holiday tournament when he goes to Foxborough, and of course Coaches versus Cancer, playing a strong team to get his kids ready. And so it's not a bad thing getting beat by Greenfield. It's almost like what we said with the Drury boys getting beat by Taconic. So
no question about it. Greenfield, we've talked about them all year long. They are ranked near the top in Division III. And they're going to be a player at the end, no question about it.
Yeah, the Hornets also won their second game last week by topping Southwick 45-39 with Grace Tyler's 18, including 3 3-pointers in the fourth quarter to spark that drive. So Coach Budai's team continues to play very well, and we got them ranked, I believe, you'll see later on in the show, 5th in D4 girls.
The Lady Mounties lost a game to Mount Everett, who, again, we've had them ranked now in Division IV, and they're going to be a player down the stretch there. They got beat by Mount Everett, the Eagles, last week as well, Butch. Rick.
Yeah, they lost 54-38, and they've got Palmer coming up on Saturday up at Hoosick. Sierra Schwartzer led the way with 10 for Coach Jacoby's team. Been an up and down, you know. But he's still young, and he, as I said, they usually improve as the season goes on. So I still think the best is yet to come for the Lady Mounties.
And one of the big games the week, it was actually the same night at Hoosick Valley and Wacona. The Lady Blue Devils of Drury with a big victory over Hampshire, 50-49, and they were led by Brooke DeGennaro on that one, Rick.
That's a very good win for Coach Downey's team, coming off the loss to Hoosick Valley. The girls responded well. They said they practiced well and got ready for it. And Brooke DeGennaro's 2 free throws with 3 seconds left got that victory. There was an and 3 for Hampshire and at very end of the game, and then DeGennaro got fouled, made her free throws. So that's a huge win for the Drury program, regardless of who Amy Sear has this year, what she thinks of her program. I still think she has a great program, and they are the defending champs. So sometimes you got to go through the champs to get there.
And you look at this schedule for Drury coming up. They played the North and really battled with the North. They stand now at 6-5, Rick. And you look at their schedule. They have a real shot here to run the table into get a decent seed in Division III.
Yeah, they do, and they won all 3 games after that Hoosick loss. Also knocked off Brattleboro. That's a game that Coach Downey said he really wanted because they got beat up there. He didn't think they should have lost that game last year, so the girls remembered that game, and then took Lennox down last night. So they're getting to that part, like you said. The North's playing the North, the South is playing the South, and this is where Coach Downey's team took off last year. I think they were 2-9 and knocked off 7 in a row to get to 500, and I think they're going to have a better record. And I think he wants to take them a step further. Now, he didn't say this, but I really feel that if Drury has a real good last third of the season, they got a really good chance, I think, Tim, for a home game in Western Mass also.
Very, very possible. The featured game, we were there to cover it for Northern Berkshire Community Television. It was the Berkshire County showdown between the Lady Warriors of Wacona and the Lady Hurricanes of Hoosick Valley. A little bit of a grudge match here, Rick, as these two teams tangled in the quarterfinals of Western Mass last year, and Hoosick Valley came up on the short end of the stick, but they were loaded for bear in this one, and they came out flying, and they took down the Lady Warriors.
I wanted to see that game, and I did. As you and I were communicating during the game, watching you and Tim, you and Butch and Peter do the game, I wanted to see that because I thought it was going to be a great game, and it really, really was. And it's really a good thing that Coach Wojcik's team got out to that good start and did their thing early on. Let's give Liz K's kids a lot of credit for the scrappiness and the determination to claw their way right down to the end and make it a game towards the end.
Absolutely, and the Warriors were led by their talented sophomore guard, Maria Gambaroni, who really, at certain points of the game, kept the Lady Warriors in the game. Just a sophomore, Maria was really hassled all night long by that very, very stout Hoosick defense. But she, held her own in this contest and was the leading scorer for the Lady Warriors in this contest. And she's a tough player, and the Lady Hurricanes really concentrated on her throughout the game, and I thought did a good job of controlling her and not giving up a lot of easy baskets to her. She had to work for everything. On the other side of the ball, the Lady Hurricanes, they came out firing, and Lexi Mercier, right off the top, she had 6 three-pointers in this ball game to lead Hoosick Valley with 20 points, and she was just on fire from the perimeter. She had some real bombs. There was like this one right here. That's an NBA.
Oh, yeah, that's
an
sure.
NBA three-pointer, and you just very, very difficult to defend it. She causes that defense to stretch, and Hoosick Valley had some great shooting in this ball game, and they really went at it from the perimeter and showed a lot of outstanding scoring. Another young lady, Rick, who I thought had a stellar game and really was able to capitalize on some great passes to her at the post was Sarah Fields. She probably had her best game of the year.
Yeah, I thought she had a tremendous game, and she was breaking to the hoop, especially in the second half, and the girls saw her and gave her some nice bounce passes that she put in off the glass. But hey, it's not as easy as you think it is, because there's a lot of those that are missed, and there's defensive pressure right around there. So she did. She had a great game, and to go along with Lexi Mercier and Allie Mendel's double figures, it's always nice to have that third person. And we talked about with the Hurricanes, it could be anybody. It could be Riley Robinson. It could be somebody else. It could be Andy Canales. You just never know. But the more balanced scoring, the better the Hurricanes are going to be.
And Allie Mendel for the Hurricanes had 16 points as well and played with a tremendous amount of energy. I thought her effort on the defensive side of the floor was just as impressive as the offensive side of the floor. She was all over the court. Probably had the highest energy I've seen from her this year, and she plays a high-energy game to begin with. But she was really a force on both ends of the court for Hoosick Valley. And so they go to 9-1 now. They're ranked number 1 in Division III in Western Mass, according to our Coaches versus our High School Basketball Weekly poll. And they're number 2 on Mass Live, and they deserve it because they've played a stiff schedule, and they very well could be undefeated at this point, except for that loss earlier in the year in their own tournament. But now we're really delighted to have with us in studio here to talk about the upcoming Coaches versus Cancer Classic. Head coach Ron Wojcik for the Lady Hurricanes, and probably one of the top players to play girls basketball at Hoosick Valley, Allie Mendel, the senior co-captain of the Lady Hurricanes. And we're just pleased to have him here. And Coach, we really wanted to invite you in to talk about the Coaches versus Cancer Tournament, which is upcoming this Saturday, January 26th at Hoosick Valley, a whole day of outstanding high school action. And this is, I don't know how many years you guys have hosted it, Coach. How many years have you hosted it?
This will be our 6th year.
Sixth year, and I know you've got kind of a running tally of how much money has been raised.
Yeah, we've gone over 18,000 in 5 years prior, and this year we've added another game, so this is the most games we've had in one day. The most prior was 5 games. Now we're up to 12 teams with 6 games, and we're hoping this year to maybe do anywhere in the 4,000 to 5,000 range if you know we get a good turnout, and you know we'd be very excited to see us go into the low 20s for you know what we've raised over the years.
And it's quite a schedule of games you've got. It's some really nice games on the schedule. As Rick alluded to earlier, the first game starts at 11 o'clock. Palmer here from the Valley coming up to play the Lady Mounties. That's going to be followed by Mahar and Lee at 12:30. 2 o'clock is Monument versus Drury, a rematch of a great game earlier in the year. And Rick will be covering that game on Northern Berkshire Community Television. So that game will be on. At 3:30, Granby versus Taconic. And Taconic, a nice young team. They're doing things now. Granby, of course, Nora Young, one of the finest players in Western Massachusetts for Granby. And, of course, they're coached by Tom Burke, great coach. Always great to see him. He's been at Coaches versus Cancer. The 5 o'clock game is Hampshire versus Wacona. We saw the Lady Warriors, of course, last week battling with you folks. That's going to be a great game. And the Medfield Mass Lady girls will be here. The girls will be here to play Hoosick Valley in the nightcap at 6:30. Can you tell us a little bit about Medfield?
Well, I can say they've been in the D2 state finals 2 out of the last 4 years. Very good basketball program. It's big basketball in the area down there. I don't know a lot about them this year yet. I know they got some size. Actually, one of my buddies is going to be scouting them tomorrow night when we play Monument. And hopefully that'll give me a little information so we can maybe go over some things on Friday for them.
Great. And you know, every year that we do Coaches versus Cancer, it's a great day. We always talk about, as part of the fundraising effort, the fact that cancer touches pretty much every family in one way or another. And we're very privileged and happy to have Allie Mendel with us here. And Allie, of course, people may not know this, and you're giving of your time here, that actually you are a cancer survivor yourself, and you had cancer, and you were treated for thyroid cancer earlier this year, or earlier last year, and had surgery. That was back in July, is that correct?
Yes.
And how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. I'm having fun playing and competing, and I feel healthy overall.
And you know that hasn't prevented you. You know you're a great athlete. You've had a great career at Hoosick Valley, not only in basketball, but you played soccer. Did it affect you playing soccer at all this year?
No, not really. I think it motivated me, if anything.
And you know, Allie, you've participated in Coaches versus Cancer. Now this will be your 4th year in this tournament, and it's been great. Coach Wojcik seems to have you guys matched up with some great teams from Eastern Massachusetts every year, and it's a real challenge to you guys, and your team seems to rise to the occasion. We've had some great games with you guys in Coaches versus Cancer.
Yes, I think it's a good day for a whole bunch of teams to compete.
I have one question for Allie and for Coach Wojcik, and that is, as the host team, can you tell our viewers, is there anything in addition to preparing for Medfield that you have to do as the host up there?
Yeah, it's a little bit of work, but I have a lot of help. Basically, every year after the tournament, and when we have our coaches meetings after the season, I talk about the Coaches versus Cancer, and I talk to all the coaches that have participated in this past year and see if they all want to come back, and we try to determine which teams want to, which teams may or may not be able to. And Tom Burke does the same thing with the Valley team, so he helps me with the Valley. And then once we kind of put that together, we try to match up the teams based on what we think would be good matchups for each other, and also if they haven't played each other, like maybe during the regular season or played each other much in the past. Like Tom said this year, he's never played Taconic, so he's excited about matching up with Taconic. So there's some of that. And then once we settle in, I try to look for somebody from Eastern Mass for us. And teams seem to be very willing to come out because of the cause. I think people look at this as a great event. And like you guys mentioned, it's touched on so many people and their families that when I contacted Medfield, for example, this year, they jumped on it right away and mentioned the fact that relatives and coaches and the AD's families had been affected by it. So they were excited about coming out. So we're excited about that. And then after that, the Booster Club does a ton of work preparing things. We have T-shirts this year. We have T-shirts made up.
Wow, nice.
The day's dedicated to Allie. The tournament this year is dedicated to Allie. And, along with that, it's just putting together the program, which is pretty amazing in itself. And so I would encourage people that come out, definitely get a copy of the program. And we get quotes from all the coaches on their teams, but also how cancer's impacted their lives and how they feel about it. I think one of the Mahar was dedicating it to one of the players' sisters, I believe, that a younger sister that passed away. So it's a powerful tournament. I mean, the games are awesome, and everybody is there and wants to win. But I think it gives perspective on life and how much more there really is.
Absolutely.
Well, I know this much, Allie, I'll tell you, you're really an inspiration to anybody out there who is dealing with cancer. Your recovery looks to be great. I mean, your energy out on the basketball court is really something to be admired. You would never know that you're a cancer survivor and in recovery with the way you played this year. You've been having a great year for Hoosick Valley, and you guys continue to impress with some really nice victories and nice efforts. And we're looking down the schedule, and it's not going to get any easier for you guys. You're right back at it after playing Medfield. You're going to have a rematch on January 31st with Waconan. I'm down at Waconan. I'm sure they're going to be in weight. They'd like to get a rematch with the Lady Hurricanes. I'm sure of that.
Yes.
But the other question I wanted to ask Allie is really more about the season as it's gone along. Allie, this is not a veteran per se Hurricane team. I mean, you really only play two seniors, you and Lexi. And what is it like, I mean, in terms of mentoring all these younger players? Because you've got a lot of freshmen that are contributing as well as the sophomores. So it's a little bit different this year in terms of the age of this team.
Yeah, I feel like we have a lot of young girls that are able to accomplish a lot. Me and Lexi and Riley especially always are on them and correcting them and making sure that they're at least giving their all at mostly all the time, yeah.
It is. Well, Coach and Allie, I want to thank you for coming in and taking just some time. I know you guys have a busy schedule with practice and games and everything else, and just talking a little bit about Coaches versus Cancer. And on behalf of Northern Berkshire Community Television, I know Rick and myself, we've talked about this tournament now the last couple of weeks. We really want to thank the Lady Hurricanes and the Hoosick Valley administration for sponsoring this tournament. It is really a great day of girls basketball. It's probably, in my opinion, the finest girls tournament in Western Mass during the season. An opportunity to really see so many wonderful teams, so many wonderful players, and of course headlined by the Lady Hurricanes themselves. So once again, we'd like to thank you for all your efforts in this regard.
Thank you very much, and we really appreciate all you guys do for helping to promote the tournament, and we look forward to it. Like I said, we enjoy hosting it, and the money that we raise goes for research and treatment and helps people like Allie and anybody that could be affected down the road.
Well, we wish you nothing but the best of luck all the rest of the regular season, postseason, and we'll have a great day up there. I'm very much myself looking forward to a full day of basketball up at Hoosick Valley.
And we'll be there to cover it all, and we will be covering live Medfield and Hoosick Valley at 6:30. That should be a great contest. We'd ask that you go up at some point during the day to Hoosick Valley High School and support Coaches versus Cancer. And if you can't get there, but you're home, you can certainly watch the Lady Hurricanes take on Medfield. You are going to see great basketball there. One of the Lady Hurricanes are truly one of the top teams in all of Western Massachusetts in any division. and that'll be at 6:30 on Saturday evening, this Saturday, January 26th. That's on channel 1302. It'll also be simulcast on WMNB-FM on your dial. So thanks again to head coach Ron Wojcik and Allie Mendel for coming in, and we of course wish them the best of luck as the season goes along. Our player of the Spotlight Player of the Week this week on High School Basketball Weekly, Rick, is a player we saw earlier in the year, a great player in her own right from Greenfield, Regan Hickey.
Yeah, we had so much going on last week, Tim, with some 1,000-point score with Ben Harding down at Lee, with Nora Young at Granby, and Samantha Smith, her teammate. But Reagan this week broke the all-time leading girls scoring record at Greenfield with that 13, almost 60 points. And you know, they got three incredible players on their team that we know of, and I know that Coach Wojcik and his team knows all about Greenfield. Got to see them during the holiday tournament. The one thing they have in common is they both gave Wickham Hanson great ball games for that tournament. Gave the folks that went up to Hoosick to watch a holiday tournament.
Oh, they were
some
great.
Tremendous girls high school basketball.
Oh, that was great high school basketball.
But,
for sure.
You could see Reagan coming from her freshman year, and congratulations to her. And just another outstanding girls player here in Western Massachusetts.
On the boys' side of the ledger, Rick, some big games this past week for the boys.
Yeah, the Drury boys actually did not play since our last. They've been off for like 9 days, and on the 23rd they'll be at Monument Mountain, and then I think they're away before they come back home against Leap. So still doing very well at 9-2, and you've got Hoosick Valley at 5-6 right now. Lost to Wacona last week, 69-38. Sam Larrabee led the way for the Hurricanes with 14. As far as the Mounties are concerned, they're really struggling right now. Toby Fail has been out with an injury since the McCann game, which he injured in the fourth quarter of that game. And I got through a text from Coach Bob Thistle, told me a little bit about Toby's injury. And and he says, hey, look, life goes on. I've lost my best player 3 years in a row with Patrick Story. 2 years ago, last year was Sean McCormick, and this year it's Toby Fail. And they do need him for his scoring and his leadership. And he's only a junior, too. So, I told him, I said, well, please tell Toby that we hope he heals up and get back on the court as quick as possible. For the McCann Tech Hornets, the boys are 7-4. They're 4-1 in the Tri-County North. And they picked up two nice wins last week, Tim, beating Duggan Academy 91-58 at home. Lucas Jamros with 24, Jeremy Beanie with 17. Bruce Davis had 15. Tom Zimba and Keegan Vidal each had 10, so 91 points for a high school basketball game, boys or girls.
Yeah,
that's pretty incredible.
That's a lot of points.
And even freshman Logan Davis chipped in with 9. And the other night they won in the nice game down at Franklin Tech, 65-58, with Vidal scoring 25 and Bruce Davis 10. So they're 4-1 in Tri-County, doing okay, trailing only Bay State. But again, like the Lady Hornets, I really believe that they're going to do fine in their division. So.
And that leads us, that's a good lead into our Boys Player of the Week, Rick. And a new person on this side of the ledger for the boys, Keegan Vidal, the junior from the McCann Tech Hornets.
Yeah, Keegan, as I said, 25 versus Franklin Tech last night, 10 versus Duggan Academy, and limited playing time, really. But he is a spunky kid, offensively, defensively. He's their point guard, only a junior. You can see him coming on last season, and he hasn't disappointed Coach Bullitt this year. So congratulations to Keegan. He had a real nice week.
On the girls' side, a lot of worthy candidates this week. It was close because we had some great performances by a number of girls out there. Brooke DeGennaro gets it this week for the Lady Blue Devils.
Yeah, we leaned a little bit more towards Brooke this week based on a 3-game performance. 14 last night against Lennox, 24 and a nice win at Brattleboro, and 15 over Hampshire. But more importantly, putting any kid on the line, I don't care if she's a senior or not, putting somebody on the line, down one with 2 free throws with 3 seconds left. Everybody wants to be in that position someday or knock one down at the buzzer. And that was pretty huge. And she's having an outstanding senior year. She's still their leader. They're starting to get a little bit more balanced scoring.
Right.
And like I said, Lexi Mercer and Allie Mendel and Sarah Field had a great game against Wacona, and they were very worthy. And they've won this prestigious weekly award at least onast this year and a few times
At
last
least
year.
it's
So
prestigious in our opinion. That brings us to the rankings, and we're going to start off on the girls' side of the leisure and Division IV girls. A little bit of movement here. You're looking at our rankings, and you see Renaissance still on top, undefeated at 11-0, followed by Ware, Mount Everett, Putnam. The team that's not in there, and I think is going to have to be considered at some point, is Munson. I think they're going to get there at some point. Their schedule, I think, warrants it at some point, and I think they're going to rise up in the rankings. But right now, Mount Everett at 7-6, and again, as we've talked about, Rick, they played a tough early season schedule as well, and now they're really settling into Division 4 action. So we might see them climbing up the rankings.
yeah, I think it's very, very wide open. McCann's still hanging around that 4 and 5 spot at 7-4, and any team with Gwen Carpenter is gonna make some noise in Division 4. That's for sure. She's got Madeline Van Ruden and also the Aldrich sisters down there to help her out with the scoring. So, and I think they're going to have a good Southern Division latter half of the season themselves, along with Drury.
On the girls' Division III side of the action, there you see it. Hoosick Valley on top, 9-1, and followed closely by Greenfield, and of course now Wacona at 10-2. And these three teams have been in the mix here all year long. Hoosick Valley on top by virtue of a very difficult schedule. Common opponent, Whitman Hanson, the only loss for the Lady Green Wave and for Hoosick Valley for both of these teams. But right now, we give it to Hoosick Valley based on their strength of schedule.
Yeah, I think we got this one right. I think we agree with the Mass Live people and you and I. I call them the big three right there. I don't see a lot of movement right there. 4 and 5, you might be in and out, in and out. We had last week. We had Hampshire in there. Coach Amy Sears' team was on a roll, knocking off 2 or 3 Division I teams, and then fell at Drury and lost last night to South Hadley. So, but they may pop right back themselves. Drury's record is going to get better. Again, playing the South, playing Mount Everett, Greylock, Lee, and Lennox. Definitely going to help them out. So, but the top 3 going to be right there all season. Right in that area. Yeah.
On the boys' side, Division IV boys, it's Drury. They're still there, 9-2, and again, they're playing in a very rough North Division in Berkshire County, so they may get nicked here and there, but overall, those games are very tough. And I know head coach Jack Reset doesn't mind playing them and feels they're only going to make his team better.
Yeah, I think playing in the North, even that they're qualified now or classified as a Division IV team for the second season, Coach Reset definitely wants to play the Division III and the Division II teams just to make his team a little bit better. Ware and Pioneer, very, very good seasons at 11-1, fantastic seasons actually. But again, I like Drury's strength of schedule here in Berkshire County. Bay State Academy, another D4 team at 10-1. Leading the way in the McCann Hornets conference. And Paolo Freire actually plays a very aggressive schedule with some Eastern Mass charter schools and now competing a lot more in Berkshire County and gave Drury a bit of a game earlier this year.
On the Division III side, we got Narragansett at 11-1. We talked about them earlier, followed by Sabas from Springfield. They're always there in the mix in Division III. The Wacona Warriors, 8-2, and we talked about them last week. They're getting healthy. They've got a lot of scores. Watch out.
Yeah, I mean, Narragansett, ladies and gentlemen, we need to understand they're located in Central Mass, but they're going to participate, according to the MIAA, come the end of February, early March in Western Mass. So regardless of who they're playing, we're still going to show their record. Sabas playing mostly Division I and II teams in that greater Springfield area over the valley. It's always going to be there. Coach Robinson has told us that many, many times, regardless of their record. Wacona, I really like them a lot, especially with Tom Burris coming back, and O'Connor, Huban, and Clayton. They got 4 great scores. Monument down a little bit. They were ranked a little bit higher. A couple losses last week for the Spartans.
That's true. Well, that's going to do it for this week in High School Basketball Weekly. We want to thank once again head coach Ron Wojcik from the Lady Hurricanes of Hoosick Valley and Allie Mendel, the senior tri-captain for the Lady Hurricanes for stopping in the studio to talk about Coaches versus Cancer, which once again is this Saturday, January 26th. At Hoosick Valley High School. Check out the schedule, and if you get a chance, please go up and support Coaches versus Cancer. For my co-host Rick Boo, I'm Tim Morey saying good night.
So long, everybody.